financing, looking for a deal that he could get a piece of. None of that was true. Why lie? So, tonight we see that the president's concern that the Democrats may be out to impeach him is a justifiable concern. Do they have a case? Here's my final point. That's up to you. A lot of pressure, but all of this will come down to you. This is not going to be about a criminal prosecution. I don't see it. If I'm wrong, I'll be the first one to admit it. But impeachment is about an echo effect of the public sentiment on the same. There'll be polls, there'll be reporting, there'll be chances for you to be heard on this. That's what will drive what happens next. Thank you for watching us tonight. Happy Monday. So much news. Let me get you right to Don. CNN Tonight starts now.
He lied about the lies that he lied about. It's
Indeed.
in both. Yeah, he did. It's like, well, let me tell you why I lied. And even in those statements, there is some factual errors in the statement as well. To me, it's just, I think it has been sort of accepted that this president lies and normalized in a way, and that is bothersome, no matter who the president is, but that's just bothersome to me and what it does to the fabric of our society.
From the beginning, I took a lot of heat because you're calling out lies. Maybe they matter, maybe they don't, but it's so pejorative. Lying is the basis of all criminal prosecution and political upheaval.
Yeah.
He has been lying about things. It is now becoming a matter of fact in terms of the understanding of what happened around him with respect to Russian interference.
Mm-hmm.
There is going to be trouble ahead.
We're saying, well, they were private transactions, right? Speaking of the payments.
You're talking about the payments to the women.
To Karen McDougal, to the women. But then, if they were private transactions, why didn't he disclose them, right? And then he comes back to try to explain why he didn't, and then he lied about it. And then why, again, and you brought it up, then why keep lying about the Trump Tower thing, knowing that somehow, I don't know, I don't get it. I don't get how so much lying is acceptable. It's just not for me. I know that politicians have issues with the truth sometimes, but this is on steroids, Chris. I mean, it's outrageous.
Mueller is going to give us a set of facts, but then the game begins.
Yeah.
And what happens with those facts, I believe, and again, I could be wrong. Nobody will have more fun with that proposition than you. But if I'm wrong, I'm wrong. If I'm right, it means what politicians will do will be a function of what people want them to do. And it's going to be a big burden, and we haven't had one like it in a long time.
Well, it's going to, I think public opinion is going to shape a lot of this, whether people believe it or not, and that is what he's banking on. But the truth is the truth is the truth. And people should dig down within themselves and think about it. If you're a Trump supporter, how would you feel if Barack Obama had done the same thing, or Bill Clinton, or even George W. Bush? If they had done the exact same thing, how would you feel? I think they would be feeling a whole lot differently than they feel about this, because nothing seems to matter right now. Truth doesn't matter unless the truth only matters for Trump supporters when it's a Democrat.
Well, but that's not the truth.
Yeah.
And look, it could cut both ways. For the Democrats, this is a daunting proposition. What do you do with your power? And, you know, because it's not too long until 2020.
Yeah.
You know, we have another election a couple years from now.
Wait now. They should wait. They have time. Wait to see if something actually does transpire. And again, you don't want, you know, talk about impeachment if it's not a real possibility. You want to get on with the business of the American people, and that is ultimately what will keep you in good stead with the American
Nancy
people.
Pelosi said the same thing to me the day after the election.
Thank you, sir. I'll see you tomorrow.
Yes, sir.
This is CNN Tonight. I'm Don Lemon. President Trump, out of sight, staying behind closed doors inside the White House today, but we know what's on his mind. Breaking news tonight. A source is telling CNN that the president has expressed concern that he could be impeached when the Democrats take control of the House in January. Okay? And also tonight, 44 former U.S. senators writing an op-ed in the Washington Post. Here it is. They are warning that the country is entering, there's an op-ed, entering what they call a dangerous period, and calling on current senators to zealously guard our democracy. They say they feel an obligation to speak up about serious challenges to the rule of law, to the Constitution, our governing institutions, and our national security. When have you heard of anything like that? This is at the same time as prosecutors for the first time implicate President Trump, implicate him in possible criminal activity, accusing him as a candidate for office of directing his former personal lawyer and fixer, Michael Cohen, to pay hush money to buy the silence of two women who claimed to have had affairs with Trump. Prosecutors writing in the Cohen document this, as Cohen himself has now admitted with respect to both payments, he acted in coordination with and at the direction of individual one. You know who prosecutors say is individual one? They identify him as Donald Trump. The president lashing out at the accusations this morning in a tweet, misspelling, by the way, the word smoking, and here's what he writes. He says, Democrats can't find a smoking gun tying the Trump campaign to Russia after James Comey's testimony. No smoking gun, no collusion. That's because there was no collusion. So now the Dems go to a simple private transaction, wrongly call it a campaign contribution, which it was not. Lawyer's liability if he made a mistake, not me. Cohen just trying to get his sentence reduced. All right, there's a lot in there, and we'll talk about it. So let's break down some of what he is claiming there, okay? He's admitting payments were made. Now he's admitting it. He didn't before. But he is admitting payments were made to Stormy Daniels and Karen McDougal, but he is dismissing them as simple private transactions. There's always an excuse for why he lied. But he can't keep his story straight. So remember when he lied about the payments when questioned by reporters on Air Force One? This was back in the spring. Let me remind you. Here it is.
Mr. President, did you know about the $130,000 payment to Stormy Daniels? Then why did Michael Cohen make it if there was no truth or allegation?
Well, you have to ask Michael Cohen. Michael's my attorney, and you'll have to ask Michael.
Do you know where he got the money to make that payment?
No, I don't know.
Okay, well, here's what prosecutors have to say about it. In their court filing, they flat out call the payments illegal campaign contributions. Illegal campaign contributions. I want you to listen to this closely because this has been bugging me for the last few days when I just want to scream at the television when I see it. President Trump and his apologists, okay, if you're one of them, listen, working very hard to claim that this is business as usual. And even if it wasn't, it's just like what Obama did during his campaign. That is a flat out lie. Legal experts will agree. Do a fact check, will you? And let me give you some now. And we'll talk about it more in this show. The Obama campaign did miss filing deadlines and did not promptly refund excess contributions, which they admitted and they paid the fines. Some of my guests will tell you campaigns are fined for doing that all the time. Sometimes there are clerical errors, sometimes there are other reasons. That is not the same at all as creating a shell company or using a media company to pay hush money for affairs with a porn star and a Playboy model during an election so that the public, the voting public, wouldn't find out. It is not the same at all. Come on. Don't be stupid. Don't think that people are stupid by pretending that this is equal and the same thing. It is not. Democrats who are about to take over key House investigative committees with subpoena power issuing warnings to the president. Listen.
They would be impeachable offenses. Whether they are important enough to justify an impeachment is a different question, but certainly they'd be impeachable offenses.
My takeaway is there's a very real prospect that on the day Donald Trump leaves office, the Justice Department may indict him, that he may be the first president in quite some time to face the real prospect of jail time.
So after Robert Mueller and the New York prosecutors filed their sentencing documents on Friday, President Trump incredibly tweeted this message. Totally clears the president. Thank you. I can't say that again. Totally clears the president. Thank you. How he came to that conclusion is mind-boggling. The filings say nothing of the kind. And Mueller points out that Michael Cohen was working on the Trump Tower Moscow project well into June of 2016 and keeping Trump in the loop about it. When Trump basically had the GOP nomination in hand and the Russians were interfering in the election. But as usual, President Trump's deflecting, saying this at the White House on Saturday.
On the Mueller situation, we're very happy with what we are reading because there was no collusion whatsoever. There never has been. The last thing I want is help from Russia on a campaign.
That is an interesting statement, especially in light of reporting that now shows at least 16 associates Donald Trump had contacts with Russians during the 2016 campaign and the transition period following Trump's election victory. And remember, Russia, go on you if you know the emails, send them out. Didn't need Russia's help, though. The walls are closing in, and we can expect Trump's tweets to get even angrier and more unhinged. And if that's not enough, tonight a source is telling CNN that accused Russian spy Maria Butina is cooperating with federal prosecutors as part of a plea deal where she admits to spying in the U.S. for Russia. Max Boot is here. He's with me to talk about that in just a few minutes. Okay? Also tonight, though, the president has another immediate problem. He needs to find a new chief of staff and is said to be super pissed. That's a quote. Because the person he wanted for the job, Vice President Pence's chief of staff, Nick Ayers, said no. And the president didn't have a backup plan and is now starting the search from scratch all over again. He wants someone in place soon, someone with political savvy. Word is from the White House is that President Trump is becoming increasingly concerned about Democrats taking over the House come January with all their oversight and subpoena power at the ready. So there is a whole lot to get to, but we begin with the news that accused Russian spy Maria Butina cooperating with federal prosecutors as part of a plea deal. So let's bring in Max Boot. He's the author of The Corrosion of Conservatism, Why I Left the Right. Max, thank you so much. What kind of information could Butina provide to American investigators?
Well, it's very interesting, Don. I mean, this really seems like something out of a sequel to The Manchurian Candidate, but this is fact, not fiction. And the reality is Robert Mueller has already indicted 25 Russians on charges of interfering in the U.S. election, but Maria Butina is the first one who is actually in U.S. custody and who is cooperating with American prosecutors. So it's quite possible that she could shed more light on what the Russians were up to, especially because she was quite close to Alexander Torshin, who was the deputy governor of the Russian Central Bank and somebody who was close to Putin and was somebody who was focused on infiltrating the NRA and through the NRA Republican politics.
I want to play this for you. This is a clip of Butina asking then candidate Donald Trump, right, a question. It was at a campaign event in 2015. Here it is.
I'm visiting from Russia, so my question...
Putin. Good friend of Obama, Putin.
My
He likes
question...
Obama a lot. Go ahead.
If you would be elected as a president, what will be your foreign politics, especially in the relationships with my country? And do you want to continue the politics of sanctions that are damaging of both economy, or you have any other ideas?
Okay. Obama gets along with nobody. The whole world hates us. I know Putin, and I'll tell you what, we get along with Putin. I believe I would get along very nicely with Putin. Okay?
So she asks if sanctions will continue, which is pretty clearly a major foreign policy goal for Russia, right?
Right. Very bizarre situation where you wonder if that was a setup with her asking that question. But it just points to the fact that there was a massive Russian penetration of American politics and specifically of the Republican Party. And Maria Butina was part of that operation.
And we have to remember at the same time, this was when they were trying to get at least Trump, his business, the business part of what he does, trying to get this tower in Moscow, this Trump Tower in Moscow.
That's right. I mean, you kind of have to laugh at Donald Trump constantly protesting, no collusion, no collusion, no collusion, no smoking gun, etc., when you see more and more evidence of collusion with the fact that there were at least 16 Trump aides who had contacts with the Russians, a total of almost 100 contacts that we know about. And some of them incredibly suspicious, things that if they had come out during the campaign could well have sunk the Trump campaign. I mean, imagine if we had known that the Trump high command was meeting with Russians who were promising dirt on Hillary Clinton right before they actually started leaking dirt through WikiLeaks. I mean, that is highly suggestive. And so is the fact that Trump and his aides have consistently lied about that, and not just lied about it, but Donald Trump has also obstructed justice to stop the investigation of what happened. So I mean, you can't imagine a more nefarious or suggestive set of facts, Don.
I want to read this because this is, and get your reaction to this. This is a letter by 44 Democratic and Republican former senators in the Washington Post tonight, okay? And they write, Max, whatever united or divided us, we did not veer from our unwavering and shared commitment to placing our country, democracy, and national interest above all else. At other critical moments in our history, when constitutional crises have threatened our foundations, it has been the Senate that has stood in defense of our democracy. Today is once again such a time. What are the former senators getting at here, you think? What would it look like for the Senate to stand up for the rule of law?
Well, for starters, they should pass the bill protecting Robert Mueller from being fired by Donald Trump. But I think more broadly, I think what we're seeing is evidence potentially of high crimes and misdemeanors for which the House would certainly be willing to impeach Donald Trump if they thought that there was any chance of removing him in the Senate. And so the question becomes, will senators examine the evidence fairly and on the merits, or will the Republican senators put their partisan loyalty above their patriotism to the country? And clearly these former senators, stress former, are telling their current colleagues, please put your patriotism and your devotion to the country over your faith to the Republican Party.
Or to just...
Or Donald Trump.
There you go.
Yeah.
Thank you, Max Boot. Always a pleasure. Federal prosecutors for the first time implicating President Trump in possible criminal activity, campaign finance violations. How much legal jeopardy could he face? We're going to talk about that next.
CNN Tonight, brought to you by The Favorite, a royal tale of loyalty, power, and deception from director Yorgos Lanthimos, starring Olivia Colman as Queen Anne, and Emma Stone and Rachel Weisz as the women of the court vying for her favor. In theaters everywhere, Friday.
The Favorite is now nominated for the Golden Globe Award for Best Picture of the Year.
Oh, I did not know that.
Emma Stone and Rachel Weisz are brilliantly witty.
You actually think you have won, haven't I?
And Olivia Colman is nothing short of sublime.
It is fun to be queen sometimes.
It's more pure, devious fun than any other great movie this year.
Is it a bit like a party?
It is not like a party.
I think it is like a party.
A perfect analogy.
The Favorite, rated R.
Hey! Yeah? I switched to Geico and got more. More savings on car insurance. They helped with homeowners, too. Okay. Plus, motorcycle, boat, and RV insurance. Geico's got you covered. Like a blanket.
Houston, you seeing this?
Geico. Expect great savings and a whole lot more.
It's Blue Diamond, the nonstick fry pan infused with millions of diamonds. So nonstick it's like cooking on air. Absolutely nothing sticks to Blue Diamond. Safe to oven bake, broil up to 850 degrees. Blue Diamond lasts 10 times longer. Metal safe, it's 5 times harder. Only Blue Diamond has the solid forged base. Even this sledgehammer can't dent Blue Diamond. It's the strongest pan known to man. Dishwasher safe. Get Blue Diamond, the best nonstick pan you'll ever own. Now at these fine retailers.
Why give to St. Jude? We freely share our science to help save kids with cancer everywhere. And here are a few other reasons.
Donate now at stjude.org or shop wherever you see the St. Jude logo.
I'll shoot you an estimate as soon as I get back to the office. Hey, I can help you do that right now. Hi, Thrive.
Thrive? Yep, I'm the all-in-one management software built for small business. Hi, Thrive.
Help me with scheduling?
Sure thing. Up top. Hi, Thrive.
Payments?
Hi, Thrive.
Promotions?
Hi, Thrive.
Email marketing?
Almost there. Hold on. Wait for it. Hi, Thrive.
Manage my customer list?
Can do, will do. Hi, Thrive.
Post on social media?
Hashtag Hi, Thrive, my friend. Get your free 7-day trial today.
It's the time of the season for loving.
For a limited time, $50 for them, $10 for you. Applebee's. Now that's eating good in the neighborhood.
What's the horn? Okay.
What you don't see can hurt you. Today's connected world is full of threats you may not see if you just monitor your credit to help protect your identity. LifeLock sees more, like your personal information on the dark web. And now with the power of Norton, we detect threats like ransomware too, to help protect your identity and devices. Plus, if there's an identity theft problem, we'll work to fix it with our $1 million protection package. Get LifeLock with Norton, starting at $9.99 a month.
Hey, Jen, which tie says trustworthy but also fun?
Gold down, oil up.
Oil down, gold up.
This is too busy. We need to make sure people can actually use this stuff.
Which one says hours of free live streaming coverage without cable or subscription fees?
Aluminum. Aluminum.
You ready, Zach?
Oh, we're ready.
Welcome to the show. Let's make finance make sense.
We're back now. We want to discuss with John Dean and former acting Solicitor General Neal Katyal. Good evening to both of you gentlemen. Thank you for joining us. John, I'm going to start with you. I just want to get your reaction to these 44 former U.S. senators from both parties warning that, quote, we are entering a dangerous period and say that the Senate must stand in defense of democracy. That's quite a wake-up call, isn't it?
Is that to me, John?
Yeah, that's you, John, yes.
Okay. I found that letter stunning. It's an amazing story that 44 former members of the Senate wrote to their incumbents. And I think they really are directing it to the majority leader.
You think so?
They're telling him, I do. And I think they're telling him, stop all this nonsense and start standing up and talking about what this country's about.
Yeah. Neal, let me read some of it and then get your reaction. This is part of their op-ed. They said, regardless of party affiliation, ideological leanings, or geography, as former members of this great body, we urge current and future senators to be steadfast and zealous guardians of our democracy by ensuring that partisanship or self-interest not replace national interest. Can it be done, given the extreme partisanship we see now?
Well, holy smokes, Don, when I read that, tears actually came to my eyes because, I really have been saying this for a long time, so many others, and, to have a letter like this, and it's signed not just by Democrats, but by Jack Danforth, one of the kind of most esteemed members of the Republican Party serving in the Senate, it's welcome and long overdue, and I am very optimistic that this is the turning point. We had prosecutors on Friday, career prosecutors at Trump's Justice Department, say Trump directed the commission of various felonies that are really serious. And I think the time is now. We have to look at it and say, things are changing. People are waking up and realizing what's happening. And this letter, this bipartisan letter, it's in the spirit of so much else. I've had the privilege of writing with George Conway a series of articles about this kind of stuff. And this letter continues that tradition. And that's really the American tradition. So it's really heartwarming to see. You really think that the tide is turning? I do. I think that, it's small steps now, but I do think that, as people look at this and understand the gravity of the crime that was committed, and the gravity of things which aren't crimes necessarily, like Trump hiding all this stuff about Russia in 2016, maybe that's not always a crime, but boy, the amount of compromising material that the Russians had, because the Russians knew that he lied to the American people during the campaign, and they've held it over him for 2 years. Yeah. This is an astounding thing. And so, yes, you take all of that together. I am very optimistic that that the tide is turning and will continue to. Let's talk about the accusations here, at least of a crime, John, that Neal mentioned. The president is implicated in 2 felonies in the Southern District of New York's filing on Michael Cohen. He's trying to downplay the payments, saying it was, quote, a simple private transaction or simple private transactions. But that's not the case, no matter how hard he tries to spin this. No. It is not the case. And you know what struck me about some of his defense and some of his defenders have been what they've missed is that several people were given immunity from criminal prosecution to testify in those cases. The Weissenbach and Pecker Weissenbach from the Trump Organization was given use immunity of some sort, and Pecker of the National Enquirer was given immunity. You don't give immunity to people who are involved in civil cases, who don't feel the threat of criminal charges being if they go before a grand jury. So they just can't dismiss this the way they want to and pretend that it's a civil action or it's equivalent of Obama's actions. Mm-hmm. I've got to ask you, I want to play this, guys, because this is Senator Chris Coons, who was on with Wolf Blitzer earlier. He is echoing Congressman Adam Schiff
that Trump could potentially be indicted after leaving office. Listen to this.
The evidence that's been presented in the Michael Cohen case that the president directed him to engage in payments that were intended to influence the outcome of the election really sharpens the president's legal risk here. And I agree with Congressman Schiff that that might well form the basis for an indictment after the president leaves office.
All right, just to get both of your responses, do you agree with his assessment, Neil?
I absolutely do. So, you know, look, I think, and John's on and knows Watergate, and a lot of people are saying the question that's going to be asked, just like, what did Nixon know and when did he know it? Here, I think, precisely for the reasons John's mentioning about immunity, the proper analogy when we think about criminal indictment is actually the mob. And that is increasingly how the White House is looking like how they're behaving. Mm-hmm. And with the mob investigation, the kind of key thing is, did the leader know about it? Or was he studiously avoiding knowing about certain things? And I think the one thing we can say about Donald Trump is he's not exactly a conscientious student when it comes to the law. And I think it's fair to say that he's no Tony Soprano or something like that, who's structuring all his organizations and stuff to necessarily avoid things. He almost certainly knew everything that was going on, and that's the essence of what the sentencing memo on Friday said from career prosecutors, that Trump directed all of this stuff. Okay. And boy, that is looking like a felony, and a very serious felony. This may be the most significant campaign contribution ever in United States history in terms of swinging an election, these two payments to the women.
I got to get to a break, John, but quickly, do you agree with Senator Coons?
I do.
You do?
I do. I think they're saying what needs to be said, and I'm glad they did.
Well, there are still some Republicans there in Washington who say, oh, so what? What if he did break a law? What if it, you know, and they're trying to downplay this so-called campaign, possible campaign violations, contribution violations. We'll talk about that when we come back.
Spread a little love today, spread a little love my highway, spread a little something to
Philadelphia cream cheese, made with fresh milk and real cream, makes your recipes their holiday favorites. The holidays are made with Philly.
This isn't a liner. Well, to be clear, it's an invisible aligner from Smile Direct Club. Our aligners take teeth like these and transform them into those. They discreetly take this and turn it into that. We send your aligners directly to you, and in an average of 6 months, you could have a lifetime supply of confidence. Join more than 250,000 satisfied groaners who got a smile they love for only $80 a month at SmileDirectClub.com.
Dick, I want you to be my VP.
George.
Come on, Lone Ranger needs a Tonto.
Vice has more Golden Globe nominations than any movie this year.
This is going to be fun.
Including Christian Bale, Best Actor, Amy Adams, Best Supporting Actress, Sam Rockwell, Best Supporting Actor, and Best Picture of the Year.
I'll handle energy, military, foreign policy. I like that.
This isn't something that a vice president really does.
Well, it is now.
Vice, rated R.
Shoes off! Belts off!
That's why I wear Skechers slip-on shoes. They're comfortable, and they come in a variety of styles. They slip on and off easily as well.
You're Tony Romo.
Yeah.
You still gotta lose the belt. Come on.
Slip into comfort with Skechers slip-ons.
Ahoy! Gotcha!
Quick! The quicker picker-upper. Bounty picks up messes quicker and is 2 times more absorbent than the leading ordinary brand. Bounty, the quicker picker-upper. On a budget? Try Bounty Essentials.
Are you ready for it? Yeah! It's like CNN gone wild.
TMI. Too much.
No matter how much you clean, does your house still smell stuffy? That's because your home is filled with soft surfaces that trap odors and release them back into the room. So try Febreze Fabric Refresher. Febreze finds odors trapped in fabrics and cleans them away as it dries. Use Febreze every time you tidy up to keep your whole house smelling fresh air clean. Fabric Refresher even works for clothes you want to wear another day. Make Febreze part of your clean routine for whole home freshness.
No cover-up spray here. It's the irresistibly fresh scent of Febreze Air Effects. Cheaper aerosols can cover up odors, bearing the smell in a flowery fog. Switch to Febreze Air Effects. Febreze eliminates even the toughest odors from the air, and it uses an all-natural propellant to leave behind a pleasant scent you'll love. Use anywhere odors can spread. Freshen up. Don't cover up. Febreze Air Effects.
This is CNN, the most trusted name in news.
Contrasting opinions on the state of President Trump's potential legal problems tonight. Back with me, John Dean and Neil Katyal. Okay, so let's talk, Neil, you on this one. I just want your reaction to this. Armanu Raju caught up with Senator Orrin Hatch, and he is dismissing allegations of Trump crimes over hush money. Listen to this.
The Democrats will do anything to hurt this president, anything.
But this is not the Democrats, this is the Southern District of New York, the U.S. Attorney. I mean, that's what's making this allegation.
Okay, but I don't care. All I can say is he's doing a good job as president. I don't think he was involved in crimes, but even then, you know, you can make anything a crime under the current laws. If you want to, you can blow it way out of proportion. You can do a lot of things.
Okay, so it's the Democrats, and then he says, I don't care. And then he said, you can make any, what?
Oh, Lordy, I don't even know where to begin. But there are tapes. So I think the first thing to say about this new thing is that, you know, this is very different than the defense we've been hearing for many months. I mean, Trump was asked in April, you know, was asked the following: Mr. President, do you know about the $130,000 payment to Stormy Daniels? Answer, quote, no, no. Ask Michael Cohen about it. So now it's all, oh, no, he did know. But, you know, people violate the law all the time, which is an astounding thing for a senator to say. Even more astounding for a senator who, of course, can change the laws so that people aren't all walking around in felons without knowing it. He's wrong about everything about what he just said. This is not some Democratic thing. This is actually career prosecutors in New York who are part of the Trump Justice Department who are saying all of this stuff. This is not even the Mueller team. This is a whole separate team. But at the bottom line, I think what you see happening is the president losing confidence in any one of his defenses. He's changing them constantly, and I think the only words that could be said for that are bait and witch.
He just admitted what I think most Republican congressmen and senators think, oh, it doesn't matter. I don't really care if he committed crimes. That is the real truth. And I mean, as a voting American or just an American citizen, I wonder what people think about that. I don't care if the president committed crimes, meaning he's above the law, meaning it's all political, that the president doesn't have the same standards as the people who hired him. But John, listen, I got to play this. Orrin Hatch, the most senior GOP senator, and I just want to play what he said. This is about President Clinton a couple of days before he voted on articles of impeachment.
I'm just saying that it's been lying from the beginning. And the person to blame is none other than our president. Now, look, I've been fair to the president. Let me finish. I've been fair to the president. I like the president. But what he's done here is reprehensible.
Well, wait, hold on. I just want to say before, here's what he said in a statement at the time, all right? And this is from the New York Times. This is in 1999. He said, committing crimes of moral turpitude, such as perjury and obstruction of justice, go to the heart of the qualification for office. Hypocrisy much here?
Well, I think he has, I'm close enough to him in age to say that I think he has slipped a lot in the last 19 years. It's kind of sad. I don't think he's thinking things through very clearly, and I think he says the first thing that comes to his mind, and he's in a total defense mode for Trump. He has, not only has he been drinking the Kool-Aid, he's looking for something as he heads into retirement.
I just want to say before you go, just remind me.
I would say that there's something.
Go ahead, Neil.
I was just going to say, you know, I don't think this is really about Senator Orrin Hatch. This is about Donald Trump. He is our nation's chief law enforcement officer who takes an oath to uphold the Constitution. He's the one the world looks to for leadership, for compliance with our most basic values, and this is what he's doing.
Yeah.
This is not the way any president should behave.
Hey, listen, I'm out of time here, Neil, but I just want to remind folks, you mentioned it earlier, what you did with Kellyanne Conway's husband, George Conway. You recently co-authored an op-ed responding to Trump blaming Democrats, and here's what you write, okay? You said, no, the criminal campaign finance violations were found by professional line prosecutors in a Republican, this is George Conway writing this, in a Republican-controlled United States Department of Justice. It looks like a pretty good case. Kudos to them. Again, George Conway, a Republican, and also Kellyanne Conway's husband, and you also recently co-authored an op-ed with him. Thank you so much. I appreciate your time, gentlemen. See you soon. We'll be right back.
If I built a van, it would do more than hauling.
If I built a van, it would carry my entire business.
I'd make it available in dozens. They've got thousands of configurations.
It would keep an eye on my fleet.
And an eye out for danger with active brake assist.
If I built a van, I'd make it available in diesel and gas. And I'd build it right here in South Carolina.
Introducing the all-new Sprinter, starting at $33,790. Built in the USA. Mercedes-Benz. Vans. Born to run.
Hiring? It's a big deal. Finding the right candidates can take up lots of your time and energy. But not on Indeed. Millions of great people are using Indeed every single day. People with every possible combination of skill and experience. And with filters to help you find them faster, whatever type of candidates you're looking for, you'll find them on Indeed. Accelerate your hiring even more with a $50 credit to start your first job post with premium placement on Indeed.
This holiday season, find great gifts for the musician in your life. Get a Yamaha portable keyboard bundle, perfect for beginners, just $89.99. Add a stand for just $29.99. Give the gift of music from Guitar Center.
Up here at the Dewar's Distillery, all our whiskies are aged, blended, and aged again. It's the reason our whiskey is so extraordinarily smooth. Dewar's, double-aged for extra smoothness.
At Booking.com, we can't guarantee you'll find gold in them there hills on your vacation. But we can guarantee the best price on this rental cabin, or any accommodation, from hotels to yurts. Booking.com. Booking.yeah.
Okay, America, here we come. Tour has begun.
She doesn't look funny. What is she, a singer?
No, she's not a singer, she's a comic.
No. Get ready.
So this is really happening.
This is really happening. Great set.
Hey, thanks. I can never tell if they're talking about the boobs or the comedy. We're gonna die in this tunnel. Good. Something to look forward to.
Iconic luxury items at up to 90% off retail. All authenticated by our experts. Only at The RealReal. Download the app and get 20% off select items with the code REAL.
I can't believe you got me a tennis bracelet.
Mm-hmm. She can thank me for that. I showed my dad this deal at Hellsberg. He bought jewelry, and I got this. It's my finder's fee.
Get a free Nintendo Switch system when you buy a gift at Hellsberg Diamonds.
I always felt that my comedy was just to make things be all right.
It's the story of my life.
Every time I smiled, I had to cover my mouth because I was so ashamed. When the denture slipped, I would have to excuse myself and go to the restroom virtually in tears. It kept me from being able to speak properly. I could not eat corn, apples, baby back ribs. I did not want dentures to be part of my life. I pretty much decided dental implants were the route I was going to take.
Let's do a head-to-head comparison of dental implants versus dentures. With dentures, the ability to taste food, to bite and chew is altered. The worst thing about dentures, bone loss. When you put an implant inside the bone, which is like the root of a tooth, now you preserve the bone. It's a game changer. With implants, you walk into a restaurant, you order anything you want. You eat just like you have real teeth.
Before you knew it, here I was with my brand new teeth.
Schedule your free consultation today. We'll even talk about financing options.
I can smile, my confidence is back.
Call Clear Choice today.
The Situation Room with Wolf Blitzer, tomorrow at 5 Eastern on CNN.
So CNN is learning tonight that Maria Butina, the alleged Russian spy, is cooperating with federal prosecutors after initially not saying a word when she was arrested back in July. Butna is now admitting she conspired with a Russian government official while working here in the U.S. A source saying it's part of a plea deal. So I want to bring in now James Clapper, the former director of intelligence. Good evening to you. My goodness, we hear these things, there are denials, and then all of a sudden there's admissions, and then there's a pleading guilty. So here we go again, Director. What's your read on an alleged Russian spy, Maria Butna, now cooperating with the federal prosecutors?
Well, it's unfortunately, a pattern that seems to be all too familiar. I'll tell you, Don, the thing that struck me, a couple things about this. First of all, this was completely separate from the Mueller investigation. Second, I think it reflects how astute the Russians are about understanding our political ecosystem and in their attempts to penetrate conservative groups. And what more important conservative group than the NRA, which the Russians certainly understand has a death grip on many of our politicians. So it makes every bit of sense from a Russian perspective that they would want to penetrate the NRO or the NRA to extend their influence. And I think it also interesting, not knowing exactly the terms of the plea agreement, exactly who she was working for and what instructions that she had and how she was financed.
Yeah.
So this is a very interesting and significant development, quite apart from the Mueller investigation.
So listen, I just want to ask you quickly, this is unusual and then get a longer response from me. So by our count, at least 16 Trump associates had contacts with Russians during the campaign of the transition. There we have them up there on the screen. From Paul Manafort to Rick Gates to Flynn, Jeff Sessions, Roger Stone, Caputo, Jared Kushner's on this list, Ivanka Trump, Felix Sater, Michael Cohen, and on. Is that unusual first?
I think it certainly is. I don't know of any precedent for this at all, and this is what's bugged me from the outset of all this, is why all this contact with the Russians, of all people, our arch adversary. And of course, as more and more of this is unfolded, and we're more and more aware of these additional contacts, the plot thickens.
Well, that's what I want to ask you. Why were they all so willing to have these meetings, these contacts, or Russian help? And why did some of them lie about those contacts?
Well, obviously that's the question. Why did the president try to lie about? Why did he lie about his dealings with the Russians? And certainly he is aware. I am quite sure, quite confident, he was aware of all these other contacts. And so what was the point? Was it just to make money? Trump Tower in Moscow, I guess something he's long wanted to do. Was there in fact an offer of a $50 million penthouse to Putin? This is not good. It's just, it says a whole lot about the ethics or lack thereof of this administration and this president.
Director, let's talk about the former FBI Director James Comey, okay? He was interviewed in front of a live audience at New York City's 92nd Street Y, and he was asked whether he thinks, if he thinks the lying is catching up with Trump. Here's his answer.
I can't see what the end of the Mueller effort looks like. I don't know what form it will take. I don't know what they'll conclude. And so I can't say in that respect. I can tell you that all of us should use every breath we have to make sure that the lying stops on January 20th, 2021.
Interesting. I mean, you have to admit it is pretty remarkable, a remarkable thing to hear from a former head of the FBI, especially when another former FBI director, Mueller, is leading an investigation that involves the president.
Well, it is, and I think Jim makes a good point. I mean, this has been his position from the outset as well, that the only satisfactory way to resolve this is at the polling place. Impeachment, and there seems to be a gathering storm for that, just from recent developments. But I think, however an impeachment came out, whether it was successful, that is a conviction on the part of the Senate or not, all that would do is heighten the polarization and divisiveness in this country that is already pretty bad. And I think the only way ahead here the most optimistic way ahead would be to settle this at the polling place. So I think Jim makes a very good point.
Director Clapper, appreciate your time. Thank you.
Thanks, Don.
A source says that the president is, quote, super pissed about, and that's a quote again, super pissed about the search for a new chief of staff. That word is not my favorite word, but so why he announced that John Kelly is out without having a backup plan. Why did he do it? That's next.
Mint Mobile has 3 months of wireless for just $20?
That'd make the holidays even happier. Oh, you guys got a turkey. Cute.
We're having an ostrich.
Get 3 months of wireless for just $20 at mintmobile.com.
Say hello to the BravaJet mopping robot from iRobot. Its precision jet spray and vibrating cleaning head loosen and scrub stains, all while navigating kitchens, bathrooms, and those hard-to-reach places. You and BravaJet from iRobot. Better together.
Happy holidays, boss. It's from all of us.
Really? Wow! Thank you, everybody!
A WeatherTech gift card is the perfect holiday gift with so many automotive accessories to choose from. From American-made laser-measured floor liners to no-drill mud flaps or Bump Step XL, nothing protects like WeatherTech. Order your WeatherTech gift card today at WeatherTech.com.
You gotta see this!
Merry Christmas and Happy Holidays from WeatherTech.
A smile shop is where smiles are made, where a smile guide, just like this, walks you through your transformation to a smile you'll love. During your free 30-minute visit, we'll show you a 3D scan of your teeth and talk about straightening your smile. Then we deliver invisible aligners to you for just $80 a month. No braces, no monthly office visits, no paying a fortune. And hey, now we're in the neighborhood. Book your free visit now at SmileDirectClub.com.
Why give to St. Jude? Our discoveries have changed how the world treats and defeats childhood cancer. Reason 2? Me. Yes!
Donate now at stjude.org or shop wherever you see the St. Jude logo.
Metastatic breast cancer is relentless, but I'm relentless too.
MBC doesn't take a day off, and neither will I.
And I treat my MBC with new everyday Verzenio, the only one of its kind that can be taken every day.
In fact, Verzenio is a CDK4 and 6 inhibitor for postmenopausal women with HR-positive, HER2-negative MBC, approved with hormonal therapy as an everyday treatment for a relentless disease. Verzenio plus an AI is proven to help women have significantly more time without disease progression, and more than half of women saw their tumors shrink versus an AI. Diarrhea is common, may be severe, and may cause dehydration or infection. Before taking Verzenio, tell your doctor if you have fever, chills, or other signs of infection. Verzenio may cause low white blood cell counts, which may cause serious infection that can lead to death. Serious liver problems can occur. Symptoms may include tiredness, loss of appetite, stomach pain, and bleeding or bruising more easily than normal. Blood clots that can lead to death have also occurred. Talk to your doctor right away if you notice pain or swelling in your arms or legs, shortness of breath, chest pain, or rapid breathing or heart rate. Tell your doctor if you are pregnant, breastfeeding, or plan to become pregnant. Common side effects include nausea, infections, low red and white blood cells and platelets, decreased appetite, headache, abdominal pain, tiredness, vomiting, and hair thinning or loss.
I'm relentless, and my doctor and I choose to treat my MBC with Verzenio.
Be relentless. Ask your doctor about everyday Verzenio.
I'll shoot you an estimate as soon as I get back to the office.
Hey, I can help you do that right now. Hi, Thrive.
Thrive?
Yep, I'm the all-in-one management software built for small business. Hi, Thrive.
Help me with scheduling?
Sure thing. Up top. Hi, Thrive.
Payments?
Hi, Thrive.
Promotions?
Hi, Thrive.
Email marketing?
Almost there. Hold on. Wait for it. Hi, Thrive.
Manage my customer list?
Can do, will do. Hi, Thrive.
Post on social media?
Hashtag Hi, Thrive, my friend. Get your free 7-day trial today.
It's the time of the season for loving.
For a limited time, $50 for them, $10 for you. Applebee's. Now that's eating good in the neighborhood.
Mint Mobile has 3 months of wireless for just $20?
That'd make the holidays even happier.
Yeah, ugly Christmas sweaters are cool. You know what's cooler? Ugly Christmas tuxedo.
Get 3 months of wireless for just $20 at mintmobile.com.
The search is on for a new White House chief of staff, and with General Kelly expected to leave the administration at the end of the year, the president doesn't have much time. Nick Ayers, the chief of staff for Vice President Pence, widely considered the top candidate for the job, took himself out of consideration on Sunday. So let's discuss. Chris Solis is here, Kirsten Powers. Chris, wasn't this fake news that John Kelly's happy and not going anywhere?
Yes. I mean, look, it doesn't take you all that long to go back through Donald Trump's quotes and tweets in which he says, General Kelly and I have talked, and he'll be staying through 2020. Now, we, of course, knew at the time that was solely Trump being reactive to news, saying he had tired of Kelly, which, by the way, in retrospect, was 100% accurate, like most of the things he calls fake news. And he just goes back on it. He says things in the moment to try to counter things that are true and play to his base.
But it says, our sources are saying, super pissed, right? Super pissed that Ayers, I don't know why I hate that word. I have such an aversion to that word. It said that Ayers said no, right? And so he has no plan B. It's just a testament to just how chaotic this White House is.
Yeah, I mean, I actually think a lot of times when you hear officials quoted on background, a senior administration official, and they poo-poo something that then happens, I actually don't think that they're lying or trying to mislead. I think it is the nature of this White House that he, Donald Trump, changes his mind very quickly, often, I would say, in reaction to press coverage, and therefore, this move, he will move on to something else and say this was always the plan. But make no mistake, on Sunday night, this time yesterday, Don, Nick Ayers was likely to be the guy. He takes himself out in a big surprise. It doesn't play out the way Trump wants. The narrative is, this guy walked away from me. He doesn't like that. That makes him mad. He'll move on to the next person, and as he tweeted last night, oh, well, this is all part of the plan. I'm interviewing people. It's fake news that I want Nick Ayers. It's not fake news. Remember, fake news for him means news I don't like.
Yeah.
Not actual fake news.
Or when people actually catch me in a lie. Okay, so let's, I just want to play, this is the president back in March, by the way. Let's play this.
So many people want to come in. I have a choice of anybody. I could take any position in the White House, and I'll have a choice of the 10 top people having to do with that position. Everybody wants to be there.
Now we know that's really not the case, is it?
No, it's definitely not the case. And I think, look, you have to ask, why does nobody want to work in this White House? And the fact of the matter is, it's an incredibly chaotic place. It's a place where the president doesn't really want to have things under control, but you do need to have somebody there to manage the staff. But once you take a job in this White House, very few people actually, if they can even do the job while they're there, by the time they leave, they've had their reputation completely destroyed. I mean, look at what's happening to John Kelly right now. He's been humiliated rather than at least being allowed to leave on his own terms.
Yeah, so let me put up this list for you, Kirsten, okay? And then we'll talk about it. This is some of the candidates and how they have reacted. The budget director, Mick Mulvaney, has been floated as a name, but is not interested, okay? Then the Treasury Secretary, Steve Mnuchin, feels like he is best suited for the current role. Trade Representative Robert Lighthizer feels the same way. Congressman Mark Meadows said he's absolutely not interested, but then said it would be an honor to serve. The acting Attorney General, Matthew Whitaker, is interested in the job. The former New Jersey Governor Chris Christie also in the running, along with the former Deputy Campaign Manager David Bossie. Among these candidates, who do you think is the most qualified right now? And do they have a chance?
Well, I mean, I'm sure that out of that list, there's a couple people who could do a good job. Probably Steve Mnuchin could do a good job, though I don't think he has the kind of knowledge about Washington that you typically would want for a chief of staff. But he's somebody who has the president's confidence, and he's obviously competent. But why would you want to go from Treasury Secretary into that viper's nest, basically, where you're overrunning your own, organization, a very high status position, and now suddenly you're in the middle of, just basically complete chaos and backbiting, and you're going to fail probably, right? The idea that like I said, there's very few people who go into that White House and are able to survive it, or without being absolute sycophants, and then when they leave, their reputations are destroyed.
Yeah.
I mean, I just don't know why anybody would take the job.
I want you to respond to that, because look, think about it, right? You've got to be a pretty skilled person if you think about it, because they have to deal with, and just want to make sure I get them all in here. They have to deal with Mueller, right? Yep. A Democratic Congress eager to investigate the president, a re-election campaign, and his worry about impeachment. That person has to be really skilled, whoever takes over.
Yeah, I mean, look, it's a very difficult job, White House Chief of Staff, under the best of circumstances with what we would say a president who adheres to accepted norms, okay?
Right.
And whether it's in dealing with staff, dealing with the media, dealing with policy, etc. This is not that president who adheres to established norms. He is someone, I mean, to Kirsten's point, they always say like a baseball manager, your best day is the day that you get announced as the manager, because basically from then on, you're just waiting to be fired. It kind of feels like that. I mean, I still remember, I think I was in L.A. Doing a thing for CNN when Reince Priebus got fired on the tarmac via tweet, and John Kelly was brought in. And I just remember Trump tweeting and talking about John Kelly in these reverential tones, going to bring order, and look at his career as a military man, and he's the kind of guy we need. And I know his time in that job is coming to an end now, but the truth of the matter is, 6 months ago, stories were coming out when Donald Trump was calling it fake news that said, Donald Trump unhappy with John Kelly. So there's no win here. This is an unwinnable job. It's a hard job in any circumstance. It's an impossible job. Now, why volunteer for it?
And we know how much he loves to be managed, Kirsten. That's sarcasm.
Yeah, exactly. Right. Yeah. Well, no, exactly. I mean, he is unmanageable, and that's why I'm saying I just don't think there's really any sane person who would go into this job unless maybe you're a Chris Christie who you don't really have anything else to do. But it's very hard to believe that would happen, considering that he sent Jared Kushner's father to jail. And I don't, all this churning that happened around John Kelly was driven in large part by Jared Kushner and Ivanka Trump, who have incredible influence over the president. And so the idea that he's even on the list is very, very hard to believe. But in the end, I just don't think he wants somebody who's really going to manage him. But in some part of him, he knows that he's going to need that because of what's coming down
That's got to be the last word. I got to run. Thank you both. I appreciate it. We'll be right back.
You eat healthy, take statins, but still struggle to lower your LDL bad cholesterol. You also have heart disease and fear a heart attack or stroke could strike without warning, pulling you away from everything you love. Because with high LDL, your risk of a heart attack or stroke is real. Now you can reduce that risk with Repatha. Repatha plus a statin dramatically lowers your LDL bad cholesterol by 63% and is proven to significantly drop your risk of having a devastating heart attack or stroke.
Do not take Repatha if you are allergic to it. Repatha may cause serious allergic reactions. Signs include redness, severe rash or itching, swollen face, or trouble breathing. Most common side effects include runny nose, sore throat, common cold symptoms, flu or flu-like symptoms, back pain, high blood sugar, and redness, pain, or bruising at the injection site.
Don't let a heart attack or stroke come between you and everything you love. Tell your doctor you're ready to lower your LDL and reduce your risk for real with Repatha.
Pay no more than $5 per month with a Repatha copay card.
What you don't see can hurt you. Today's connected world is full of threats you may not see if you just monitor your credit to help protect your identity. LifeLock sees more, like your personal information on the dark web. And now with the power of Norton, we detect threats like ransomware too, to help protect your identity and devices. Plus, if there's an identity theft problem, we'll work to fix it with our $1 Million Protection Package. Get LifeLock with Norton, starting at $9.99 a month.
Iconic luxury items from Chanel, Louis Vuitton, Hermes, Gucci, Rolex, and hundreds more at up to 90% off retail. All authenticated by our experts. Real luxury, unreal value. Only at The RealReal. Shop now and get 20% off on selected items with the code REAL.
Imagine being able to do whatever you want to do, whenever you want to do it. Sandals, more quality inclusions than any other resorts on the planet. Save up to 65%. Call 1-800-SANDALS.
Outback is making your holidays even better. For a limited time, get a 4-course meal starting at $15.99. Treat yourself to the perfect gift today, because the Aussie 4-course won't last long. And now get a $10 gift with every $50 in gift cards.
Are you ready for it? Yeah! It's like CNN gone wild.
TMI. Too much.
For those who peer into rock pools and gaze up at starry skies and seek out places with strange names and curious histories and quietly ponder the vastness before them, asking why, where, and how. This is Curiosity Stream, where you can stream incredible documentaries from the world's best filmmakers on demand